can tell me. What happened at the first game, if you remember?
Steven Scheibel on my team was in the corner of the bench making gestures like this. I asked him if he was doing okay, and he said no. I thought he was ill. Therefore, he didn't go out the next few shifts. Another young man walked off the rink onto the bench and said to Steven, "Are you okay?" And I said, "No, he's sick." And he goes, "No, I'm not. F you." I turned to the other coach. I says, I was just cursed at again, which was several other times during practices as it happened.
This young man cursed at you other times?
Oh, yes, ma'am. This has been a constant problem with Steven Scheibel, his behavior. We as coaches took disciplinary action by benching him. And in this particular case, I was the one that went and approached Mr. and Mrs. Scheibel outside the rink to advise them of their child's behavior. I said to Mr. and Mrs. Scheibel that I want to let you know of an incident that took place, what their son had said to me. Mrs. Scheibel then called Steven over and asked him if he said, "Did you say F you?" And Steven said, "No, Mom."
So he lied?
Yes, ma'am. And then...
Sure you did.
And then Mrs. Scheibel started yelling at me, "Don't be making things up about my son." And
so she's an idiot too?
Yes, ma'am.
Hey, before we get to any claims of false charges, let me tell you exactly where I'm coming from, so you understand. Usually, fathers who participate as coaches do so because they love the sport and they generally like children. So that I have to assume that the man standing before me is not a psychopath, and that the reason he participates in the sport is because he likes children and he likes the sport. So if somebody in authority comes over to you and says to you, "Madam, your son's got a toilet mouth," you believe him. Mm-hmm. Yes, now you're saying yeah.
I did. I believed him. That's why I went and got my son.
And your son said, "No, I didn't say it"?
I said, "You have to apologize to this man if you said that."
Stand up here. Yeah. Not if you said that. Not if you said that. How dare you open your mouth to him?
Right.
Because he just looked at me before and said, "I didn't say that." Right?
Right.
Yeah.
You're a liar.
I didn't say that.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. You may con her, but you don't con me, because there's no reason for him to lie. You know how many punks like you I've seen in my life who have a fresh mouth? Tens of thousands. And the majority of the ones that continue to get in trouble come from parents who don't think that they do anything wrong, who blame somebody else. There shouldn't have been a question, "Did you say it?" No, not "Did you say it?" He said it. He lied to you, he lied to me. The only thing is, I call him. Now sit down. What happened afterwards?
Well, after we started taking disciplinary action against Steven regarding other incidences, one was he punched another player on our bench in the stomach, completely disruptive, which led up to having him dismissed from the team. That's when all my problems started, Your Honor. I had death threats called to my house. I've had motorcycles show up in front of my house. Mr. Scheibel continually showed up at our games at 3 different facilities using profanity, and I'm not talking just trash talk. I'm talking vulgar words in front of all the children.
How many times did Mr. Scheibel show up at games where his son was not a participant? And give me the dates and the places.
13.
Based on lies, too, Your
No,
Honor.
it wasn't. Oh, no, no, no.
Phone calls?
Did you listen? Did you hear me? Are you not hearing me?
You said
Are you not hearing me?
You were ignoring this, correct?
Are you not hearing me? I said to you, if somebody says you better sleep with one eye open or I'm going to get you, that's enough for a protective order, and I believe your husband said that to him. And I'm not interested in phone calls, because he says he doesn't really know who made them. That's what he told the judge. He said, it just so happens that coincidentally, after Potty Mouth over here was dismissed from the team, he started to get all of these telephone call hang-ups. Now, it could have been your son, it could have been his friends, it could have been somebody else, it could have been your husband. Who knows? Maybe it was you. All I know is that from what I've read, stop flipping, what I've read, your husband's got a toilet mouth sufficient for you to have said to him, "Sit down," in a public place, because he cursed at another coach in front of children. Yes, and you had to say to him, "Sit down."
Okay, I realize, but Mr. Lukowski is saying this all happened after they removed my son from the team, which that is not true.
I don't care if it happened before or after or less tish above. Doesn't make any difference. Your case is dismissed. Period. End of discussion. As far as you're concerned, sir, I want to know if you think that you did everything right.
Yes, Your Honor, I did. I have the code of conduct that I have to sign as a coach.
Don't give me code of conduct.
And
I don't want to have code of conduct. I'm not talking about dismissing him. I think if he opened up a mouth to you once, get rid of him. If his father's prepared to tolerate that because that's the kind of language his father uses, that's the kind of adult he'll grow up to be. But his mother says that you said something to him.
That is totally not true, Your Honor. I would never. I've coached hockey for 7 years, year-round, with 400 to 450 children under my direction and never had any problems. I'm there for the kids. There's no way I would intimidate a young man.
Let's see who heard this. Did you hear it?
No, my son.
Maybe I'll believe him if he says something that's truthful. Get up here. Tell me about a conversation or a statement that your former coach said to you after you had stopped playing ball.
Well, I was there to sub for another team, and I was standing there watching the other game. He looked at me, and he's like, well, my son's going to kick your... Then he walked over to where his son was playing, like he was going to tell him.
And what did you do when he said that to you?
I just kind of stood there and went over to the locker room so I can get dressed.
You mean dressed to play?
Yeah.
And did you play?
Yeah.
Did anything happen at the game?
No, not really.
Your Honor, I do recall this instance and situation, although what I did is my son was playing in a different league. I said to my wife, I'm going to go watch Mark kick some butt, and I walked over to the rink to watch my oldest son play. I made no reference to Stephen Scheibel, never would.
Maybe he heard it and took it as directed to him.
I would never say anything like that.
Maybe. All right, listen, go home. Both of you, go home. What?
Well, after he kicked me off the team, a couple games during the playoffs, he let me play again.
So? It means he's a nice guy. I wouldn't have let you play again. You opened up a big, fresh toilet mouth to me, and you would have been in another jurisdiction, another state.
Your Honor,
Just a second. That didn't require an answer. What I'm trying to get through to him is his mother may believe that he never said the words that he said to you. He learned them at home. He sees that they're commonplace. His father can say it, he can say it. There's no question his father said it because his mother said his father said it. If I asked his father would have probably denied it, just like his son did. It's a game. It's a game.